Hi, Cultivating Literacy families. Today I'm going to be telling you about a strategy called retelling. Retelling is when your child tells you about the story they've just read. The purpose of retelling is to make sure that your child has understood what they've read. When you understand what you've read, that's called comprehending the story. And it's important that our children understand what they read so that they learn how to use reading to learn new information. So one great way to check in with your child to learn whether or not they've understood what they've read is to use a strategy called retelling. Retelling is when you look back and talk about the details from the story. So I'm going to model that retelling strategy to you today by using the story, Pete the Cat Rocking in My School Shoes. So after your child has either read the story to themselves or read a story aloud to you, you can come back to the story and do the retelling strategy. You can use the illustrations or the text to help support your child as they retell the story. And I'm going to model what your child might do as they retell a story to you. They might open the book back up and you would ask the question, can you tell me about the story? Can you tell me about the story from beginning, middle, to end? Because we want to retell the events in the story in order. It's important that they're in order so that we're checking in to make sure your child understands how a story happens. We're not skipping around. So you'll ask, can you tell me about the story from beginning, middle, to end? So your child might open up and use the illustrations to help them and say, okay, well, here's Pete walking down the street to go to school. And they can point out, oh, well, he's getting on the school bus. So we're using the illustrations here. Here he's at class. And your child can even refer back to the text and say, well, here's his teacher in class. Now he's in the library using the illustration. So we're telling the details in order. He's reading a book, eating lunch with his friends, playing at lunch, on the playground, swinging. So each page your child might not need to say what the character is doing because as you see here, he's on the playground for multiple pages. So I might just say he's on the playground. Here he's doing math, playing songs, doing art, writing, and now he's heading home. So I'm doing this briefly. I'm just giving you the high points or some of the details from the story, maybe more of the major details instead of focusing on each little part of the picture or the text. Another great way to retell a story is by using drawing. Drawing is a great way to engage your child in talking about what they've read, and it's also a great way to check and make sure they've understood what they've read. So what I've done is drawn 3 boxes up here to help sequence or put in order the different details in the story. There are more than 3 details in the story, but I'm going to model just 3 of them so that you can see how to use drawing to engage your child in retelling what they've read. So the first box here goes with the first detail in our story. The first thing Pete the cat does is he gets on a school bus. And you can see my drawing is super quick and very simple, and I even used words to help explain what that picture is. That's optional, but it's a great way to engage your child in looking back in the text to include words from the text in the picture. The second thing that happens in our story is Pete the cat ends up in a classroom. So I might draw a classroom in the second square. And I'll do that quickly for you now so you can see how to engage your child in quickly showing what they've read in a story. So I've drawn a little cat and a blackboard showing the classroom just like our picture here. And then I'm going to pull a word from the text to describe my picture. And the word here is teacher because he's with his teacher in this picture. And it's great to help your child point out that word in the text and then copy it down onto a paper or onto their drawing. The next detail from the text is he's now in the library. So I would draw a picture of the library here and then write that word down underneath the square. As I continue on in the story, there's another picture of the library. So I would not draw that again. I can describe these couple of pictures by just writing the word library and drawing a picture of Pete reading or some books. Then I could continue on and find another detail. The next detail I might draw, if I had another square here, would be him in the cafeteria. And then if I wanted to continue on, because if I'm retelling, I would continue on telling more information, is that he's leaving the cafeteria to go to the playground. And I might draw another picture of Pete in the playground. And I would continue on in order until I get to the end of my story. So he does a few more things until he's finally back home again. So remember, retelling can be quick and simple. If you're using drawing, you can make it fun by either engaging with your child as they draw, by talking or helping them draw, or helping them create something fun like a little book. It's great to include retelling as a strategy to check in with your child to make sure they're understanding what they're reading. It's also important to remember that this strategy and implementing it shouldn't take longer than 5 or so minutes, unless your child's just really enjoying the drawing process. We want to keep these strategies short, engaging, and fun so that our child is enjoying talking about reading and learning with us. Happy reading!